Hey there, welcome to the DFS Build NBA edition. I am Kevin, and that is Taylor. We're getting ready to go over the 4-game NBA DFS slate over at DraftKings. Really nice change of pace. Last 2 days have just been 2-gamers. We've still played them, still had some good plays along the way, but 2-gamers just give you no wiggle room at all. It's like playing a showdown. Speaking of which, I did do a Thursday Night Football showdown video, so if you do want to play that and want some advice, catch that at the end of this video. If you like free advice in general, keep watching this because we're going to go over the slate and highlight all the plays that we like. If you want premium plays, finalized core plays to build winning lineups around, hit up dfsbuild.com. Just $5.99 a month to get access to all those that we hand out. Taylor's on the core plays tonight. He has been a bit red hot lately, so you might want to go check those out. And of course, even more free advice to be had in our Discord. Check out the link on our YouTube channel and come join the party. If we do anything that helps you out in this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Both those things help us out a lot. And again, come join us in Discord. The way we do this, we go game by game, team by team, really, and look at all the plays we do or don't want to play based off of projections, ownership, and matchups. So right away, Clippers and Rockets. Like, I do not like this at all. We know Houston at home is not a fun draw. They are 10-point favorites. The game total is not super inviting at 222.5. I don't know, man. Like Harden, Kawhi, Zubats, like you can, I guess, talk me into them for tournaments. The only thing I really kind of like here, and I also still don't like it that much, would be a 4.9 John Collins. Kind of cheap for a slate that's lacking reliable value. And he's actually getting pretty good minutes. So not getting to anything here. If I land on JC, I don't love it, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 games on the slate have like at least 9.5-point spreads. So there's a lot of risk with some of this stuff. Because of that, I'm just kind of inclined to not care about the spreads, not tie myself into knots, worrying about a blowout. All these teams have had several days off, so hopefully that'll help keep the games competitive. Obviously, the Clippers are in the worst spot of all on the road in Houston, lowest total on the slate. But they're kind of cheap. Like Harden, Kawhi, Zubats are all a little bit underpriced, I think, for where they should be. They're priced down for the matchup, I guess. I think Harden's going to get Thompson, which is not great. I don't mind the spot for Kawhi. Like, they're all pay up to be different type options. Like, I don't think any of them are going to be very popular. So I don't mind Kawhi at low ownership. I don't mind Zoo at low ownership, around 7K. If the game's close, these guys are going to get the minutes. So yeah, I don't mind it. Collins, not really for me. I think there's other value. I like Play. He's just low usage. He's cheap, but he's cheap for a reason. So I don't mind Kawhi and Zoo. Less into Harden, less into Collins.
Yeah. I mentioned JC for those couple of reasons, but I really don't want anything to do with this game. I think it's enough games for me to be somewhat selective. And I feel like if you're playing the Clippers, it's really just to get different and nothing about it, or because they're cheaper than usual. It's not enough for me on this slate. I just think there's better plays. On the other side, the Rockets, not really. I feel like Clippers have been a little bit better defensively lately. Basically ever since banishing Chris Paul, they seem to be a slightly different team. And those old bodies being more rested than usual probably can't hurt them. That said, it's still not a bad spot for the Rockets at home. Şengün always looks good at 9.6. His price never budges. KD at this point to me is too expensive. I'd much rather play Amin Thompson. Jabari is fine at 6.1. Reed, I feel like, is just an okay play now. And Steven Adams at 4.5K on a slate that doesn't have a ton of great value. I think he's an okay value. Nothing is calling to me here. If I had to play one Rocket, it would be Amin Thompson, but I don't feel like I have to play anybody from this game.
Yeah, it's a good spot for Houston, but they are priced up from when Şengün missed back-to-back games with an illness, and he's back. So they're like KD at 9K almost, not really for me. No. Amen really hasn't shown a consistent ceiling with KD and Şengün in, so not really into that. I think the one guy might get a little Jabari just because he's 61 with small forward eligibility, which can come in handy on a small slate, but overall, I'm not excited. I think this is pretty easily the worst game to target on the slate.
100% agree, man. All right, Boston and Milwaukee, they are 10-point road favorites, which is just never something you see. But the Bucks don't have Giannis, and they might not have AJ Green. Just which one of those is more important? Unknown. But Jaylen Brown, man, he's had crazy usage. He has been amazing. 50-plus fantasy points in all these games in that 71-point ceiling game not too long ago. Just we've been talking about his usage and role like all season long, and only just recently at the end of November, he finally started exploding. That doesn't look like it's going to go away. Coming in with almost a 50-point fantasy projection and not owned. I think that has a lot to do with Jokic existing, there being a lot of good second-tier plays, and Denny basically the same price, also looking like a god. But Jaylen Brown looks awesome. Like, the prices come up, but rightfully so. So he looks really good. I don't know if I'm going to get there because I do prefer Denny personally, but you could certainly talk me into him. Derek White feels a little bit expensive at this point. Peyton Pritchard maybe also the same. I don't mind Simons off the bench at 4.4K. Very volatile, not safe, but I think that's okay. And then Neemias Queta is an okay play at 5.3.
Yeah, I think Brown is really good off pivot. Like, Avdi is going to be owned probably 50% on this slate, and Jaylen Brown might be under 10, which is like
right.
a very clear pivot. Like, I think Avdi is hitting his ceiling more often, but not every single time going to outscore Jaylen Brown. So at the odds you're getting, like 5-1, I would take Jaylen Brown, like in a lineup where I need the leverage. Perfectly fine with that. I agree. I'm less into Pritchard and White. Just seem a little expensive. One of them's going to get Ryan Rollins, which is not an easy matchup either. Probably White, I would think. So yeah, like not psyched about that. I do think the value is pretty good. I think it's about Queta. Milwaukee just gets killed on the glass without Giannis. So Queta's in a really good spot. Simons is cheap. He's got shooting guard, which is pretty handy. There is value on this slate. A lot of it is Sacramento, like Portland. So it's not the most comfortable or fun value. I think you can pivot to someone like Simons. I think Jordan Walsh at no ownership at 4.7 is still playable. He's been starting. The minutes have been pretty good. Not generally high guy, but it is a good matchup against Milwaukee. So I do think Walsh is a decent cheap guy you can get different with on this slate. And that's about it for Boston. I think overall in a pretty good spot, though.
Yeah, for sure. On the other side are the Bucks. KPJ's price came up, and pretty arguable it's not expensive enough. I would love for him to be like 6.5 forever, because then I'd always play him, I guess. At 7.6, I think he's appropriately priced. I still think he's a really good play in terms of his role and what he's been doing. I think he's kind of fadeable at this price, though, because he's going to be really chalky. And Boston's not a fun draw. Like, Boston's still pretty good defensively. Like Ryan Rollins isn't somebody I really want to play, but he's like direct leverage on a chalky KPJ, so you could do that, or you could just fade the Bucks offense in general and just go do something else. But in a vacuum, Kevin Porter Jr. looks good. 40-point projection. Price is still okay. Not super psyched about anybody else here. Like, again, this is not an amazing slate for value, so you can absolutely talk me into Kuz, Bobby, Miles in the event that AJ Green is out. If he's in, I think I would maybe consider Miles or Bobby since they don't really overlap. But I'm just not that psyched about it. I think it's like, oh, hey, Kevin Porter Jr. has been a god. Let's just play him. Or Kevin Porter Jr. is really chalky in a bad spot. Let's get leverage or just ignore this shit.
It's just hard to fade, I think. He's too cheap. I think he should probably be 8,500 or 9K without Giannis. He's played 35 plus in 3 games in a row. He's like leading the league in touches in that span. Like, the role is just insane. He's shooting, he's passing. He's a super good per minute guy at 7.6. Gonna be pretty owned. I don't think he'll be like 60% like he was the last time we had him on a slate, but it's gonna be up there. But I still think it's generally pretty good chalk in this matchup. Rollins as the leverage play I like. I think it's fine. I just think the ceiling is way higher with KPJ. The floor is way higher with KPJ. the prices are more aligned now. Like it's a $100 difference. I still don't think Rollins should be the more expensive one, but it's a pretty easy straight line pivot if you do need the ownership discount. Otherwise, it's really kind of just Portis. Like I think Portis is similar to Jordan Walsh, just a guy around 5K who's a role. Portis can pay that off. I don't think he has a monster ceiling anymore, but still decent value. I will never play Miles Turner, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's
Miles
really not a
Turner
good
has
spot for Turner.
no ceiling whatsoever. Like he has been completely ordinary and so underwhelming. There's no reason to play him. He's like perpetually too expensive.
No, the only time I can like really consider Miles Turner is like when he plays the Wizards or something. You know, like when it's like
He's
the
like
smashy
5K.
spot.
I don't know why he's like 6K. It's like the easiest fade of all time.
Well, because historically he has a ceiling. That's why. You know, like he does have the ability to do that. I just think like Kevin Porter Jr. for this slate is like the conversation piece, right? Because you have the instant same team leverage, you have the brutal matchup. Like Boston does kind of everything well. Third best scoring defense, fifth best or sixth best against fast break, second best inside the paint, fifth best against assists allowed. They just are still very good defensively. So like absolutely, I'm it's on the board for me to not play Kevin Porter Jr. into ownership, especially single entry. He's gonna be way more than 25% owned in single entry. So the problem is
I thought
Ryan
this
Rollins
in the last game too, like Detroit on a back-to-back. It's like, well, this is a pretty
Yeah.
bad spot. He's gonna be 70% owned, and he got fucking 60 fantasy points.
I
It's
know.
Like, I'm tired of fighting it.
No, it's not about fighting it though. Your logic wasn't wrong there. He just the role was so good and he's been on fire. But eventually he's not going to be on fire, man. Eventually it's going to slow down. So these are the types of things we want to look for and kind of project it the other way. Like absolutely, the job should be made easier for us. He should be like 8.5 or 9K right now, right? And if he was, it'd be a lot easier for us to not play him. But because he's 7'6", we're going to get baited into playing his ass because he's too cheap for the role. And then he's going to come out and get like 35 or something, which is not going to be good enough for that price. Like I said, for the role and the price, absolutely he's a good play and you can play him. I am probably, against my better judgment as a Bucks fan and somebody who loves value, I'm probably going to be underweight. Denny, we talked about
value. Who among us?
Hey,
who among us doesn't like value?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so Denny, I love Denny. He's still perpetually under 10K for reasons unknown to me. I guess the obvious reason to fade Denny is twofold. The spread is a little bit tighter than it should be. Like they could easily murder the Pelicans without Zion. And you do have a direct pivot with him too, with Jalen. Could this be a don't get too cute thing where we should just play Denny and KPJ and get different somewhere else? Sure, that's possible. But however you want to look at that, I think Denny looks great. The Pels are a really, really good spot. He has 70-point fantasy upside. He's been on fire. Like he's 42 last game, but he's been crushing it overall. They're down a bunch of key bodies, so like he just has to do a ton of shit. That said, there are other good plays in the Blazers even. You have Jeremy Grant, you have Shadon Sharp, you have Kamara who looks okay. Robert Williams, if in at 4.9 would look good. If Robert Williams is out and Hanson Yang is out, we could even look at Duop Reith. There's a lot to like here for the Blazers, which feels kind of gross, but that's the state of the slate, man.
Yeah, nothing really to add on the guard forward to get in snaps. He's not expensive enough. New Orleans does not offer any rim protection whatsoever, so he should smash. I certainly think you can fade him. Like you don't have to play him in every single lineup or anything like that. There is enough else to like to make him fadeable. I would probably max to the Avdia Sharp Grant trio. Just a lot of usage you're accounting for. They're probably all going to be pretty popular too. So you're cutting down your ownership and your exposure to one situation. Like pretty unlikely all three of those guys get there in the same game.
Right.
Unless it goes to like triple overtime. So fine with two of them. I think Grant would be next behind Avdia ahead of Sharp for me. But they all look pretty good. Time Lord is going to be mega chalk. He's 4'9". He saw 30 minutes in the last game he played in a starting role, so there is more upside I thought it was based on his long ass injury history. But an illness tag is kind of scary to play
Yeah.
through for a guy like this. But if he's in, I assume he's fine. He's cheap, so it's not a 6K guy. You're paying 4.9. So I think he's, as of now, a pretty easy core play. If he's out, and if Yang Hansen is out, I don't really know what they're going to do. Like, they could go small with Chris Murray. You really need a size New Orleans. So they could go small. They could start Reith. I guess if Reith's starting, he's playable at like 3-3. Don't know what kind of minute ceiling he has, but he is a pretty permanent guy over the years. If it's Murray starting, I'm less excited. He's 4K, still playable, but nothing great. Never playing City, Sissoko, and I think that kind of does it for Portland.
Duop Reith, he of the 54% 3-point shooting percentage. He's
Pretty
shooting
good.
lights out. Yeah, pretty good. I do want to note also, like, if you are fading Denny, probably want to still get exposure to some of the other Blazers guys. If you're playing Denny, I think you kind of are alluding to that. Like, you don't need to go stack up all these Portland guys. You gotta get leverage within that game. You know, like, consider going Tumani over Jeremy or Shadon, or if you're gonna not play Denny, play Shadon and Jeremy. Also, in that same breath, if you're going to fade Denny and go get Jalen, I don't think you then also need to go fade like KPJ or get leverage with Rollins. Like, you're already getting really different, right? So, like, just be cognizant of the choices you're making and don't go, oh, I'm really going to get different by fading Denny and KPJ and this or whatever. You don't need to get so contrarian that you're passing up all the good plays. I just think these are decision points that we want to think about before we, make that call every time.
Like, in a single entry, if I'm not playing Avdia, I'm probably playing Porter and I'm probably playing Russ, because you don't need all the leverage in a small field contest like that. And those guys project so well at ownership that I'm fine eating that. You don't need to fade all the chalk. You probably need to eat a lot of the chalk in NBA. So.
Yeah, I would say, like, obviously a guy who's like 10K, they need to do quite well to hit. So, like, that is like reasonably good chalk to consider fading, especially when you have a direct pivot like Jalen, or you have like second tier options on the slate, or you have like an overlooked Jokic. Exactly. So there's other things to be done than just force feeding 10K Denny. The point is, if you do that, just make sure you're not aggressively going over contrarian after you do that, because if he might be like 60% owned in single entry tonight. We should have interest in the other side of this game. It does have a 4-point spread. It's the highest game total of the night. Actually, that's not true, but it's close, I think. But yeah, so it's in New Orleans too. Queen looks great. I got him when he had 71 fantasy points the other day, and that was beautiful. Price has not gone up that much. The problem with Queen here would be it feels like a little chasey if he's going to be like owned. But in a vacuum, love him. Looks great. I wish he'd be a little bit less owned, but that's okay. Murphy at 8-1, totally fine play with no Zion. Don't mind him at all. It just feels like we're going to get to a lot of Blazers and Pels. The other guys here, I'm not as excited to get to. Like, if I'm racking up Blazers, I would definitely not mind the run back of Murphy or Queen. Probably not going to force two. But like Fears, Sadiq, Herbert Jones, who had a weird game in his first game back. Like, these guys are fine. I just don't feel like. Oh, by the way, Jordan Poole might be back. He's questionable, so that's fun. It's just a little bit messy. So I think I'd mostly be looking at Murphy and Queen.
Yeah, I think Herb Jones at 4-4 is a pretty good play. I don't expect him to do what he did the other night, but minutes should be decent enough, and he's cheap. And like you said, there's not a lot of like super cheap value that we like on this slate. And he's not going to be very owned, and it's a good game environment, like pace up spot against Portland. I think Jones is a really good play at 4-4. You say Queen's chasey, but like, he's a really good per minute guy. I don't really think it's a chase. He's 6,900. He has power forward now, which he has not had for several slates, so that makes it easier.
No, I just mean the 71 I just mean the 71-point game. Like, I don't think he's going to come out and get like 60 fantasy points or something, but he's still a good play. I agree he's a good play. I like him a lot. I just think he's already projecting at 22 in a single entry. That's going to be probably a good amount more. He's just not like the awesome leverage play he was the other day. That's all.
Yeah, but you don't really need him to be like,
No.
there are other ways to find it. So I think he's a pretty good play overall.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And he's power forward eligible, which is really nice. So,
as I said, Trey Murphy is expensive, but worth it. Like without Zion, usage is pretty stable for him. Portland's defense without Holiday is abysmal. So I'm not scared about the spot whatsoever. I don't think Poole coming back on a limited basis would really affect anyone here. So yeah, I think Queen, Murphy, and Jones are the ones I want. Bay's almost 7K. No thank you to that. And then Fears is a fade.
Yeah, Queen is the obvious play over Bay. He's the better play compared to Murphy. Like if you have to play one Pell, I think it's Queen. And I'm with you on Herbert being a good value. I do think the Poole return would be problematic. Like it obviously could cut into Jose. It could cut into Fears a little bit. Like he's going to take somebody's minutes.
Yeah, those guys aren't really
considered. No, yeah, don't really want to play them anyways. So Poole being back doesn't change anything for me. Just saying, like, obviously he would probably get like 15, 20 minutes. So it's not nothing. So, all right, Denver and Sacramento, obviously a great game environment if the Kings can keep it close, but the Kings are, in a word, bad. Smash spot for Jokic. Like Murray's been the one going off lately. So naturally he'll just keep crushing now that I said that, but honestly, Jokic has the best projection by a mile. He's very expensive and there's major blowout risk here, but doesn't seem like he's going to be that owned. I don't mind getting to Jokic instead of Denny or something on this slate if that's where you go. He looks amazing. The Kings cannot stop anybody inside. Murray priced up now, like he's been crushing, but I don't really want to go there. Cam Johnson, Peyton Watson, fair values. I don't mind them at all. And if you want to play the blowout game, JV off the bench, 3.4, not the worst thing in the world. I just wouldn't play him with Jokic in the same lineup.
Yeah, Jokic is still quite expensive, but there should be enough value to make him pretty attainable on this slate. Like you said, Sacramento without Sabonis, not that he's a good defender anyway, but without him, they can't keep anyone off the board. They can't keep anyone out of the paint. They can't stop anything at all. Neither of these teams can stop anyone. So I think Denver overall looks pretty good. Jokic is great. Murray, okay. I'm not psyched about his matchup with probably Keegan Murray, but he is good. He's played very well this season. He's under 9K. I think it's okay at low ownership. I agree. Valanciunas, he's only going to play like under 15 minutes, so it's pretty thin, but he's 3-4. Good per minute guy. Revenge game.
Revenge. Right.
Yeah.
So good. Dude, the
don't
Kings
mind it, but yeah.
Kings are 28th in points allowed in the paint. 28th.
Chicago's worse. And
I know, but I'm just saying we've seen some career outings. This is the one where Edie went nuke mode not too long ago. And so I mean, not like you need a big sales pitch for Jokic, right? On the other side, though, if you're going to pay for Jokic or Murray, I think you'd want some interest in the Kings. And guess what? Unfortunately, we're going to want interest in the Kings anyways. Russ looks great. The only problem with Russ at all, in my opinion, is the blow risk. Matchup is fine. Game total is amazing. He's been a beast. Last game, 70 fantasy points. I mean, he's a little inconsistent. He's got a lower floor than he used to in the past, but 70 and 64, those are his two best games of the last 5 here. That looks pretty damn nice. Projection looks great. I don't mind playing him into ownership. Kind of mind playing DeMar into ownership, but at 6.5K, if you think the game's going to stay close, I think it's fine. Keegan Murray feels a little bit expensive, but maybe leverage on DeMar, not the worst thing in the world. Malik Monk, not great. his production and minutes lately, the Kings don't know what they're doing as far as like consistently on a day-to-day basis, like who they're going to just randomly yank out of the rotation or not. Monk is a scary play into ownership for sure. I don't want to do that. Like in the name of Harry Barnes, I think I'll stand and die on that one. I still like Maxime Reynaud. Like I like Jokic isn't a fun guy to go against, but 5.4, he's still a pretty good value, I think. And that's probably it. I guess Keon Ellis could see an uptick in minutes here, but that doesn't feel great.
No, I do think Monk is an awesome play though. Like 4-8 without Schroeder and without Levine. There are minutes available. He should get them, I would think. At 4,800, I'm willing to take the risk. I'm really not scared of the blowout here either. Like Denver hasn't been blowing teams out. They don't have their two best defenders, and they're really sucking ass as a result of that defensively. So without Gordon and without Brown, I think Sacramento's in a pretty good spot. I think Monk is a core play as of now at that salary. I think Russ has a case to be a core play in a revenge game. Fading Russ is viable. It's just he can put up a score that can absolutely bury you if you don't have him. So it's still frightening. I think DeRozan's fine. Like the salary's pretty good. The Levine absence should really clear usage for him, you would think. Sabonis, Schroeder, and Levine all being out is notable. So I haven't really played him all season, but I think this is a spot where I will. And then I think Precious at 4-2 is a pretty good value, especially if he starts in place of Levine next to Reynaud. So it's like, I'm not excited to play Precious Achua, but 4-2, good positional stuff. I don't mind that either.
It all feels pretty gross. Where are you at with priority as far as the Kings go? Because you say Monk is a core play and Russ is a borderline core play. If you're playing those two guys, I'm assuming you are crossing DeMar off your list at that point.
I haven't really thought it through in terms of a rule to make for that. I would probably cap it at 2 of those 3, just because it's a lot of ownership you're getting with those 3 also. So I do think max 2 there is fine. And
okay, and
probably no, never mind.
Here's the other thing. Since they're chalky, and you're probably going to be playing at least 2 of them, how aggressive are you going to be in trying to get Jokic as a comeback? Because obviously you're playing for these guys to get a full game, which would mean if they do, Jokic is getting a full game. A full game Jokic against the Kings. Like the real concern with Jokic against the Kings, beyond price, I guess, is blowout risk. If the game does not blow out, Jokic has a clear path like 80 fantasy points here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm getting so many Kings in lineups. I'm not really forcing a nugget with them. Like the value just kind of screamed out with Sacramento. So I don't think it's vital to cram Jokic in if you're playing like 2 Kings, just because you're going to have so many builds that give you 2 Kings, that give you like Avdia as a spend. And Avdia as your top spend is totally fine on this slate.
Sure.
So I'm not really forcing Jokic. I will have plenty of Jokic just because that's the way it goes. But as far as making a rule to like if I have 2 Kings play Jokic, I'm not going to have that rule.
Yeah, we say that all the time. You don't just force a stack or a comeback for the sake of doing it in NBA DFS, but it's there, man. Four quarters of Jokic against the Kings. That is alluring. All right, that's going to do it for us. Hopefully this helps you out. If it does, hit the like button.
Sorry, now that I think of it, like if playing Jokic, I mean, it's probably going to happen naturally, but I think you have to force one of the Kings, because if you are getting the full Jokic experience, then you definitely want at least one of, I think, Russ or DeRozan, probably, which might, like I said, might happen anyway in your optimizer. But if you need the full Jokic minutes, it's probably pretty likely that one of Russ or DeRozan is getting there.
Yeah, and that's different, obviously, because if Jokic is not chalk. So like these other guys are very owned, and if you're going into it, if you're going into it fading them, you're expecting that game to blow out and those guys to just all not get there, and you're getting very unique right away by doing that. But if you play Jokic and Jokic is going to get there, obviously some of those guys on the other side, chalk be damned, are also going to get there. So yeah, good shout for sure.
We also just got news that Nick Clifford is probably starting. So I guess Achua is not going to start. Nick Clifford is 3'5" small power forward. I don't think he's a very good play, but I guess like he's so cheap that he's viable. I just think he's getting a lot of usage. And if this news coming out so early makes him really popular, then probably pretty easy to feed.
Don't they love him though? Like didn't they like have like a list of like untouchables and he was on it and like nobody else basically?
Maybe, but the
I
Kings
think
are
so.
morons, so if they love
I
him,
mean,
it doesn't
if
mean
you're playing Jokic or Murray and you're expecting this game to stay close, I mean, how many Kings is too many Kings?
3 max.
Because they're going to be shorthanded. I think you could go to 4 Kings if you're banking on that and the game is actually close. But generally, 3 max is a good rule of thumb for sure. Okay, that's going to do it for us for real, I think. Hopefully this helps you out. If it does, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and come join us in Discord. Discord is 100% free. If you want Taylor's core plays for today and our core plays for every day for NBA, as well as our NFL advice, come over to dfsbuild.com. Just $5.99 a month for everything that we do over there. All right, thanks for watching and good luck.